Hello, and welcome back to a new year of EPC Teardown Guides. Today we're taking a look at the Precision 3571, a 12th gen i7 processor, fairly simple to take apart, though it does have a lot of pieces, but today we're going to show you how. Now let's get into it. Alright, now let's get started. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back side. We have 9 captured Phillips screws around both the edge and the inside of the case. No, inner part. Let's get started taking those out. Alright, and I believe that the easiest way to get this back cover off is going to be to try and wedge up the neck under here. There we go. Feels like something isn't all the way out. There we go. Yep, you can see there's little hooks here on the front, so they hook right under here. So that's why we tackle the back side first. Alright, so as usual, we will start by getting the battery out of here. We got the connector right here. We just pull that straight up. It's held in place by 3 of these screws. Get those out of there. And we just pull up and away. I believe it's also possible for this battery to be about 2/3 of the size. They've got a couple different sizes that come in the model, but it should all look similar enough to that. The hard drive itself, we have 2 separate drives for M.2s and VMEs. So let's go ahead and get those out of here, starting with this populated one on the right. In this model in particular, the right one does not have a heat sink and the left one does. Not sure the purpose there, but it even has a little diagram right here telling you not to put the heat sink on this one. Over here we have a caddy for a large 2.5 inch bay, although this is just a spacer. This is held in by these 4 screws around the edges. I don't think I've ever personally even seen this module populated, so they just fill it with a spacer in case somebody wants to in the future. At some point these will become redundant, but for now we're continuing to add them. And now we can tackle something a little bit larger. Let's start by getting this lid and LCD out of here. To do that though, first we're gonna have to disconnect the Wi-Fi cables here. They're held on by this little bracket. Pull that off and away. And then we will disconnect the cables from the chip, remembering to pull directly away from the chip and not move in any sort of angle or apply any torque to the edge. In this case, I can actually just hold both the cables at the same time with a pair of tweezers and just push down and get perfect lateral motion. These connections are very easy to break, so always be careful. Move those out of the way. This is loose now, so we can just pull it out. We've got display connectors over here on the right side. So this is held in by a small shield, just 2 screws holding it in place. And then we can just pull this by the pull tab. This one is hidden underneath this little black covering here. So just gently peel that back to expose the protective bar. Pop that bar up. And once it's up, you can then slide it out. And now we're able to get the LCD lid assembly off. So to do that, we're going to do it in the safest and easiest way I know how, which is to open up the model, flip it over, and set the keyboard down to the edge of the table. Now there's going to be 3 screws on each of the brackets. And of course, by doing it this way, it's going to be held in place by these little standoffs. Not going to go anywhere, but when I actually want to remove it, I just have to pull it right and away, as you'll see in a moment. It prevents any sort of torque or tension or anything on the connector itself. Best to have it open when you pull it out. And like so. Now is where the fun begins. As you can see, there's this plastic cage which permeates a good 60% of the inside. We need to get that off. And it is held in place by, if my math was correct, 17 of these small screws. So little arrows go into most, if not all of them. But with that many, it's easy to miss them. So let's go through the list of all we remember. Alright, I believe that was 17, meaning this whole thing should just lift up and away. Now, there's only a few things standing in the way from getting this out. One of them is this little bracket over here, securing the USB-C connectors. Two of the screws are going to be pretty easy to get to, and the third is right under this heat pipe. We're going to remove it this way. It's much easier if you remove the heat pipe, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to leave that bracket in place for now. So I believe I can, and I know getting it out is going to be a challenge with the pipe there. Now we've got a handful of speakers around the board itself, with the speaker cable right here. It's got these wings, so we can just pull it right out. We don't need to disconnect the CMOS battery for now, so we can just pop up the adhesive, unthread it, and we'll just stick it to the board for now. We've got 3 ribbon cables down here. So we just lift and pull, put back down. And I believe there are, yes, 2 screws that are going to hold this thing in place. We've got one of them right here. Another one right up here. And then I believe the only thing left is going to be these 2 screws holding the fan in place. Looks like they didn't want to come out, so they're just going to stay right there. And if I remember correctly, that should be everything. Should just be able to lift from this left side over here. And out comes the board from the case itself. You can get a better look at this little bracket I was talking about before. Now that there's a little bit more room, you can see it just comes right out. But, of course, it's a lot easier if you remove the heat pipe first. There's still a few more pieces on the board if you really wanted to. For instance, this touchpad could come out, including this expansion card slot, the speakers, and I believe even the keyboard comes out in this model if you're persistent enough with all these screws. But that's outside the scope of the video today. That's how you tear apart a Precision 3571. Thanks for watching.
Don't feel like doing a teardown yourself? Have not just one, but hundreds of devices taking up space? EPC is a global leader in the ITAD field, and it's our goal to reduce e-waste and give devices a second chance. Reach out to us today to learn more.